Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Kathmandu Post analysis. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic that is about Chepang community. The Kathmandu Post has come up with an incredible topic that is Chepang community, one of the most marginalized and overlooked community in Nepal. For decades, these communities are living in cave-like shelter, a den-like home, a den-like shelters. Okay, look at this. Look at this picture and this shelter. This one in this kind of den, in this kind of cave, they are residing in. In den, in cave, primarily those animals reside who are living, who live in uh, forests like tiger, bear, deer. They live in den. They live in cave, right? But an entire community is living in cave in this modern era still. So that is a very disturbing situation, very disturbing news. So let me begin by saying why this community faced such kind of marginalization, such kind of overlooked situation for decades and more. Previously in 90s, back in 90s, the population of this Chepang community was as minimal as 10,000. Only 10,000 population were there in Nepal initially. Over time, it grew its population, and today it has multiplied numerously, and more than 80 to 90,000 population are found in Nepal of Chepang community. Okay, so this community primarily belongs to an ethnic group that is called Tibeto-Burman ethnic community or ethnic community. So this they come they relate their community with Tibeto-Burman ethnic groups. Okay, their language is also called Chepang. This community is also known as Chepang, and their language is also Chepang. It is very different from Nepali language or any South Indian South Asian language. Okay, so this is the thing. They primarily reside in some central districts of Nepal. That is, those are uh, one of them is Chitwan, Makwanpur, Dhading, Gorkha, and so on. These districts are the primarily habitats or a habitat for Chepang community, and all over Nepal, the very few amounts of Chepang community live in. They primarily reside in those districts. Okay, so in beginning, they used to live a life of nomadic people, a life of hunter, hunter and gatherer. Okay, they used to hunt the prey, hunt the wild beasts, wild animals like deer, wild birds, and so on. And over time, when government has started enforcing stringent rules and regulations to conserve forests, to conserve extinct animals like deer, okay, and they started hounding out uh, those those people who reside in forest. That means Chepang community and some other community also used to reside in the forest. They used to be hounded out by the government, and they had no any other lands to to inhabit them. Okay, so they used to overlooked from that point of time itself, and they started moving somewhere else. And now today, they used to live in Den, in some other mountain hilly region. Okay, their lifestyle is very low. They have the most lowest literacy rate in Nepal. Mm, 10 to 20% of the people of Chepang community are literate. They can study, means they can read anything, they can write anything, and almost more than 80% people are still illiterate. Look at this situation. Look at the situation. This one is the father, mother, son, and daughter-in-law. Look at their cooking style, their bed, how they sleep. Look at this cooking style. Still, they are relying on the products of the products of forests, be it foods, grains, shelter, clothing, and all. Right. So this picture has been taken from Dhading. Okay, in Dhading, this community is living in such kind of cramped uh, cave-like shelter or den-like shelter. You know, look at this shelter. Look at the look at this house. Look at this house. This one. It is okay for them to reside in winter season, because in winter season there is no rain, there is no downpour, but it is very difficult for them to reside in Sawan Bhadav. Okay, because in Sawan Bhadav there is massive rain, there is massive downpour, because that season is rainy season. And when rain falls, uh, this all cave, this all space is filled with water only, rainwater only, and it is very difficult for them, for Chipang community to live, but still they are surviving anyhow. So this is the situation. It is very discerning. There is a there is a tree called chiuri. Okay, chiuri. If you read this article, you can understand there is a tree called chiuri, the chiuri boat in Nepali. So wherever you go, and if there is Chepang community living, if any Chepang family is living in that area, so you can find there nearby a kind of a churi boat or churi tree, a tree of churi, where the churi tree is a kind of a tree from which make you can make ghee. You can make ghee out of it. You can make some other food products out of it, and you can also make use it as a fodder to feed feed it to the livestock. Okay, and they primarily tame, or they primarily domesticate cows, buffalo, bulls, goat, and so on, and they rely on their milk, their meat, and all. So this is the situation of Nepalese community, Nepalese marginalized community, Nepalese overlooked community, and it is very discerning. Government has done so many things about this community to spread awareness, to teach them how to live, to teach them how to do work, how to become a laborer, how to do laborer kind of work, and thereafter how to live in cities. But it means this all these efforts have uh, shown a very drastic result, a very good result, but still some of the people in this community, still they are living in very deteriorating situation. So what would be the step forward? First of all, government must possess a perfect data about all the communities of it, about all the people of Nepal, and filter from that data, filter it, make it a strategic figure for all the communities how to work, from which place we should start, from which community we should start, which community is facing very deteriorating situation and which community is in the privilege, like in the privilege Bahum, Kshetri, these communities are in privilege by society, by economy, by politics and all. In hilly region, such kind of Chapang community, in Tarai region, Musahar, Chamar, Dome, such communities are very, you know, in very deteriorating situation. So unless or until we are going to make them live well, unless or until we are going to provide them everything, every basic thing, every necessary thing, we are not going to make our country great. To make our country great, each and every person would be having sufficient amount of resources, sufficient amount of, you know, literacy rate, or sufficient amount of uh, all the rights. Then only a country can progress, a country can flourish. To make Nepal a developed country, it is very necessary to work on its people and not on the land. Or look, today what has happened, we believe that development means building roads, constructing buildings, skyscrapers, making cities and providing everything in the cities. But for me, those are not development. In developed society, according to uh, some scientists, some, what to say, some brilliant persons, and in my opinion as well, if we want to build, if we want to develop our society, develop our nation, then there must be equality. First of all, equal distribution of power, equal distribution of resources, evenly distribution of all the, basic needs, and then only people can become united. Unity is important. Look at this community is facing, languishing with its own lifestyle, languishing with its own day-to-day routine. How can this community support the government? How can this community support, uh, how can this community think about skyscrapers or cities? So make them first, to stand on its own, on their own. When they can stand on their own, then only they can support government or support the country, or be against in the of the government. So first I'll make them understand what is the modernity, how to use it. Not about only Japan community, all the communities, all the marginalized community, Dalit community of Nepal are very important to make our country develop, or to develop our country. First of all, develop them, bring them into the mainstream, bring them in the main line. Then only anything will happen. These communities itself, uh, they have the kind of population more than 20% of Nepal, and 20% or 30% around people are below poverty line of in Nepal. So if we are going to uplift them, then definitely our poverty line, our poor people, our poverty line will decrease. Our poverty rate will decrease drastically. That is the thing. So, for today, this much only, and do not overlook anybody. Look at here in this article, one person, his name is Tulsi Shrestha. He is from Bodha, and from Bodha he is providing supports, and only he is providing supports and all the other resources, materials, goods to these Chepang communities. Okay, So it is very important to support Chepang people, the Chepang community, support Musar community, and such kind of persons are very important, very necessary, because we are not going to become a kind of, we are not going to do anything if we are not kind enough, if we are not kind towards others. We have to help. So helping hand would be necessary, is very necessary. So hope you all will be helping one another, and thank you. Bye. Mm, mm.